Hi, it's Henna, and thanks for joining me. This is the perfume rotation for the month of May. Lately, I've been trying to structure my rotations a little bit by theme or notes, and this month I really focused on the note of vanilla. I like to kind of leave my perfume wear choices up to my mood and the weather and see what I'm feeling every particular day, kind of like how I choose my outfits. But it's been nice to have kind of a consistent theme that lets me compare the notes, common notes in different perfumes, and just let me think about what makes them interesting or different or how they stand out to my nose as I wear them. This might be the last perfume rotation for a little bit of time because July is super busy and June is going to be busy, so I don't know if I'll have time to sit down and really compile all my thoughts together like I normally do, but I really enjoy having these perfume chats because they kind of let me air out my thoughts on all the perfume that I've worn over the course of the month and what I've been sampling, which kind of lets me think about how I'm going to add certain perfumes to my collection. Often start with something that's fragranced but not necessarily perfume, and in this case it has to be Diptyque's Milan candle. This candle launched in the month of May, and I think it is limited edition. Diptyque comes out with it every spring, and you could buy this candle up until May 21st. This candle was gifted to me by the brand, but look at how much I've burned through already. So I really did enjoy smelling this candle and burning it in my home. If you're looking for reviews of this candle online, and I've only seen a few here and there, people say that this is a really soft candle and they don't like it for that reason. But I actually prefer a candle with soft throw because I can then burn it for longer and not feel like it's overpowering the scent in my house. I normally do burn this or burn all of my candles in my kitchen, and I kind of am trying to drown out those foodie smells, or I'm trying to as I'm waiting for those foodie smells to go away, this is kind of what's perfuming my kitchen or my living space. And I like the soft throw of this candle. I thought it was perfect for my purposes. The Milan candle, and you can see what's on it. They focused on the balconies and windows from Milan and geraniums. These are supposed to be geraniums, these green blobs. So you can see the box for the candle has red and green blobs on it, and the red is supposed to symbolize the geraniums and the greens are geranium leaves. And geranium has kind of like a rosy, minty kind of scent, so it's very fresh, very uplifting. If you like rose, you might like geranium, and if you don't like rose, you still might like geranium because it might give you the things about floral that are maybe missing in some other florals, and that is like the minty, uplifting, refreshing kind of aspect. So that is primarily what I get from the Milan candle. It does smell like geranium, like a perfumey kind of geranium. It is a little bit minty, like a sweet mint, and it's fresh, it's floral, it's uplifting, it's perfect for springtime. The colors are really pretty, and this was one of my favorite discoveries for the month of May. I really enjoyed smelling this candle, and hopefully I'll be able to get another one next May when they relaunch it. I really loved this candle, so I would totally rebuy it, except that it was limited edition and you can only get your hands on it for a limited amount of time, and then they kind of get rid of them. But if you ever come across a Milan candle, now you know what it might smell like and you could get one for yourself. So I'll probably finish this in the next couple weeks here because I absolutely love the smell of it, and that is the Diptyque Milan candle. Smelling the Milan candle actually made me super interested in the scent of geranium and finding this perfect geranium perfume. And luckily, I had the opportunity to attend a Creed event at the department store here, Holt Renfrew, because they were relaunching Creed Royal Mayfair. And I did leave the event with a little sample of Royal Mayfair, and Royal Mayfair has a lot of geranium in it. It's really fresh. It's got ambroxan, and it has this like watery quality to it that makes it really lovely to wear. Kind of fills a room and then dies down and becomes a skin scent in a couple of hours, but that means that you can still respray it and enjoy the refreshing feeling of respraying your perfume. I really enjoy that. I did have my sample, I wore my sample, and then someone that likes to smell perfume with me really enjoyed it, so I gave her the rest of my Royal Mayfair sample. But that bottle kind of did make my wish list, and if I see one that's a little bit less than retail, I might pick it up. I guess that is a perfume that is only available in Creed boutiques, apparently, and it was available for purchase here for that launch party. So I didn't get my hands on it then because I like to smell my perfume at home and wear it and see how it wears on me. But I really did enjoy the geranium in Royal Mayfair. And maybe in July and the rest of June, I'll smell some more geranium perfumes and see what I think of them. So that was another perfume that I really enjoyed in the month of May. And I guess I had a really blessed month because I was gifted another perfume this month, and that was the Seven Virtues Vanilla Woods. And I got this at the beginning of the month, and it kind of like set me on this vanilla journey, because then I took out all my other vanillas and I was like comparing how they smelled in comparison to this one. And I'm not that familiar with the Seven Virtues, but I know that when I've smelled them in Sephora stores, most of them smell pretty sweet, and I don't really like gourmand perfumes, so this hasn't really made my list of brands to collect. But Vanilla Woods was not disappointing, I will say that. It's still a little too sweet for my taste, and it's a little too too much of a basic vanilla, so I don't love that about it. But it has a really interesting tart, juicy pear note that opens it, and I guess pear is a little bit trendy because it's in a bunch of other perfumes that launched this year too. Most noticeably, it was in Merit Retrospect. I think that actually launched last year, but I keep smelling this juicy pear note, and I like pear, but I really liked what the pear does to this vanilla. It kind of brightens it up a little bit and uplifts it, and then you do get this like kind of syrupy sweet vanilla in the base, but it's not cloying and it's not overpowering. So I liked wearing this a little bit. Again, aesthetically, it's not my kind of scent because it does lean a little too heavily into the gourmand category, but I enjoyed sampling it and kind of, challenging myself to smell stuff that other people like that I might not normally wear, and I didn't mind it. I thought it smelled good. If you have someone in your life that really likes vanilla, then they might like Vanilla Woods as well. So sample that. It's pretty interesting and maybe like a little basic for my taste because it's the pear and vanilla together, but definitely not bad. So that was Vanilla Woods. Moving forward with my vanilla journey, of course, I had to take out one of my favorite vanillas ever. And this, I wouldn't have said this last month. Like I wouldn't have said it in April or February, but this has now turned into one of my favorite vanilla perfumes ever. And it's kind of sad because the rumor is that it is getting discontinued. And I'm talking about Dior's Vanilla Diorama. There's been lots of talk about the fact that this is getting discontinued, and honestly, I can see why. This is a really rich resinous vanilla. It's very grown up, it's very mature. I don't find it to be powdery, so I wouldn't say it's like a grandma perfume or anything like that. It has cardamom in it, and the bright camphorous nature of cardamom balances out the jammy resinous vanilla that you get here. I do think that there's a little bit of labdanum in the base blended with the vanilla. There's a little bit of benzoin, there's a little bit of tonka. You've got like this kind of blend of all the good stuff in the base that makes this a really rich vanilla. but not in a way that makes it overly heavy, and definitely not in a way that makes it gourmand or cloying. This is really a very upscale vanilla perfume. Now, all that being said, I think it's so good, but I can see why it's getting discontinued, because I think aesthetically it doesn't quite fit into what Francis Kurkdjian is doing with the brand. His creations, his launches for Dior seem to be a little bit more basic, and I think that his aesthetic is a little bit more clinical. And I say that knowing that like he's done lots of great, well-loved perfumes, but even if you look at something like Eau Noir, which he did for the Dior Privé line, that's like pretty simple. It's not bad, but it's very, very simple and quite different from Vanilla Diorama and some of the other perfumes that are in the line. A while ago, someone I met to smell perfume with gave me a whole bunch of Maison Francis Kurkdjian perfume samples, and they loved some of the scents from the brand, so they were happy to pass them on to me, and they wanted me to smell them and try them. And I did smell them, but they all kind of smelled a little bit clinical. Like they all smelled a little bit too much like they were made in a lab with someone wearing a white lab coat, and there wasn't like a richness to them. There wasn't spice or incense, and they kind of just didn't hit the mark for me. I can see why people love them. I love Grand Soir, but I hate the opening of Grand Soir. I can appreciate Baccarat Rouge, but overall, I just couldn't find anything that blew me away from the perfumes that I tried. So, I mean, I guess that's why I haven't added any of those perfumes to my collection. But aesthetically, I can see that that vision carries on into the Dior Privé line now that Francis Kurkdjian is a creative director, and this just doesn't fit with all of those scents. Having been in Comme for a little bit of time now, I've realized that when people start saying that things are going to get discontinued, like once you start hearing the rumors and there's like a little bit of murmuring and a bit of buzz, usually it ends up being true. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to find a bottle of Vanilla Diorama today if you start looking. But usually what it means is once they sell out at the counter, they're just not restocking it. And that's usually how these rumors get started. Like people at the counter see that they're not getting a new stock of the perfume, and then they tell people, right? They tell their clients that are regular clients that, hey, if you love this perfume, you might want to get a backup bottle. They share it on social media. And so those rumors usually end up being true, even if you can still get your hands on a bottle. So if you haven't smelled Vanilla Diorama, I highly recommend it. I think that this is one that you need to try on your skin because it really changes as it gets into the base. It really gets this jammy vanilla quality. And if you liked Shalimar Millésime Jasmine, which has the same kind of dry down, it's just so delectable, then you will probably like the dry down of Vanilla Diorama. Also has a nice dose of cardamom, so if you like something spicy, then this might be it. And yeah, so I wore a lot of Vanilla Diorama and really enjoyed it, appreciated it on just a different level, and I love how complex and rich it is. So that was Vanilla Diorama. Continuing on my vanilla journey, I wore this masterpiece, which is Rosendo Mateo number 4, Saffron, Oud, and Vanilla. Points for smelling completely unique and unlike anything else on the market. There is an overdose of saffron in here, and saffron's not a very popular note. However, saffron is one of the notes of Baccarat Rouge, so now we're mentioning Baccarat Rouge twice. This is way more saffron than is in Baccarat Rouge, and it kind of veers a little bit medicinal and is a little bit leathery, but I like how it offsets the vanilla in this perfume. It says oud on the bottle as one of the listed notes, but I don't really get a lot of oud when I wear this. I just get like this saffron and vanilla. The saffron's also a little sweet, a little dessert-like, and it goes really well with the vanilla. If you enjoy saffron, like if you think you're gonna like saffron in a perfume, then you need to smell this because it's an overdose of saffron. And as always, I've said this before, I'll say it again, but niche perfume really gives you an overdose of anything, right? Like it's not afraid to go in a particular direction because it knows that that is what the people want. Like it's not going to be pared down, it's not going to be minimalist, it's going to be a very maximalist take on whatever the concept is. And in this case, that saffron vanilla combo goes so well together, and I really enjoyed wearing this. It's just so unique and so fun to wear. I've had this bottle for about a year now and I love it. An honorable mention goes to Meharees by L'Herbolario. I know this bottle looks empty. I mean, it is empty. I decanted the last little bit into a travel spray for myself so that I could take it with me when I go travel somewhere. But I also have a backup bottle of this perfume. I've talked about it, I think, so many times, but this is like a citrusy, cinnamony perfume. It's quite light and wearable in the summertime. So if you're looking for a summer vanilla, then this might be one that you really like. It often gets compared to Musc Ravageur by Frederic Malle, and I do have a bottle of Musc Ravageur. I would say it's just like a little bit more simplistic than Musc Ravageur. It's like a more easy, light version of Musc Ravageur. If like Musc Ravageur came in a cologne format meant for the summer, and if Frederic Malle did flankers, which they don't, thank goodness, this would be what it would be. So that's Mihars. This is an Italian brand and I love it. It's kind of like an Italian version of the Body Shop. So if you like that sort of aesthetic, then you might like Meharees. I think you can find it on eBay and they have an Amazon store also. So maybe I'll link that down below. And if you want to get a bottle, they're fairly affordable. I think they're like $50 or $60. Could try that, and it's not a lot of money to spend on a pretty good vanilla perfume. Doesn't smell like anything at Sephora or anything at the Body Shop or at, you know, your local drugstore. It just smells like a cheap and cheerful Musc Ravageur. That's how I would describe it. Two more samples that I tried this month. One was a bit of a miss and one was a hit. The first one that was a miss was Sana Jardin Tiger by Her Side, and I took it on vacation with me and I absolutely loved it. I thought it smelled so good. It's an ambery perfume. It has benzoin. It has a rich, gorgeous rose, just like a real juicy rose in it, but then still has this vanilla, benzoin, amber dry down and a little bit of incense, and it has cinnamon in it, so it's got the spice, the rose, the amber, all things that I love all together, and beautiful perfume. However, aesthetically, I kind of didn't get it. Like, when I look up the brand and I hear about the brand, I feel like they look to other countries for inspiration quite a bit. So they look to places like India, and they have a perfume called Sandalwood Temple, and it's supposed to be, you know, like India and other adjacent countries like in that area. But then they hire French perfumers to make their perfumes, and the perfumes kind of all smell designer. They don't smell niche. They're not something like Rosendo Mateo, which I've talked about this brand before. Everything's very unique, but Tiger by Her Side really reminded me of Dior's Amber Nuit, and I thought that if I'm going to spend about the same amount of money, I may as well get Amber Nuit, because it's not trying to be something that it's not. It's not trying to have all this inspiration and storytelling from other cultures. Like, it is just what it is, and I would just much rather have that. Like, I don't know, what's the point of creating a niche brand where all the perfumes then just smell designer? I kind of aesthetically don't understand that vision, and who cares what I think, because it's a very successful brand. The other perfume I've tried by the brand was Sandalwood Temple, which is a nice creamy but kind of basic sandalwood, and I don't know, I wasn't really wowed by that one either. I mean, I love Tiger by Her Side. I wore it all through this one weekend vacation that I had, and I loved it. I'm so glad I brought it with me, but I just like didn't feel like I needed to get a bottle after that one. The other sample that I wore and finished was a surprise to me, and it's called Concrete by Comme des Garcons. I think I got the sample or the decant in a trade that I did, and I smelled it at my like perfume club when I have my friends come over and we smell perfume together. And I thought it smelled kind of basic. It's kind of a powdery rose. It's watery, it fills the air. There's vetiver in it. It smells like a bougie clothing store. So if you think of a store where maybe you could buy Comme des Garçons clothing and everything's made out of like concrete and it's not done up in any particular way, but aesthetically it's supposed to be very basic so that you can just focus on the clothes, and the clothes are all like insanely expensive and like so cool, you know, that's what this perfume smells like. Like it really evokes the scent of a really bougie clothing store, which is kind of cool. And so for that reason, I didn't really pay much attention to it, and I wasn't really sure if I liked it. Like I thought it was okay, but then I wore my sample a few times because I just liked how it smelled and I needed something basic to wear. And by the time my sample was finished, I realized I did really like the perfume, and it went on my wish list so that if I come across it, I might just end up getting a bottle. But yeah, that was Comme des Garçons Concrete. I mean, it's kind of pretentious in a way, but I can appreciate that it is trying to it's trying to be pretentious, and that's okay. It doesn't apologize for being pretentious, and maybe all the Comme des Garçons perfumes are a little bit like that. Like they're not cheap, they're not easy to get your hands on. I can't smell them anywhere in person here. And I feel like even the stores where I've seen them, I never see the whole collection together. I just see like bits and pieces of it. And that's okay. Um, but they just give you a vibe, a mood. They kind of remind you of the Maison Margiela replica perfumes, where it's just supposed to be like a feeling, you know? And that's what you get when you smell concrete. You just get this like feeling of being like in a really cool store where you can't afford to buy anything. And even if you could, like, where would you ever wear it? You would just want to be the person that's standing out if you wore it. If you've ever shopped at like Essence, the online store, it's like SSENSE. That's what this perfume reminds me of. It reminds me of that store, how that store would smell if it was like in real life. Because I've only ever shopped there online, and it's out of Montreal. But yeah, really liked Concrete by Comme des Garçons and finished my sample, and yeah, put it on my wish list. And next month, maybe I will focus on geranium or musks. I've been into wearing my musks lately because it's so warm or getting warmer, and they're just easy to throw on and layer with, and that's kind of fun too. But that is it for me. Let me know what you've been wearing and what you think of the rotation or any of these perfumes. And if you have a good geranium perfume for me to try, I would love to hear from you. That's it for me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.